evening. You're watching Bloomberg Quint Live. I'm Alex Matthew. The benchmark equity indices gave up early gains within the first hour of trade today and then spent the rest of the session flitting between gains and losses. So, what did you miss? Let's start with the headlines. Indian equity benchmarks ended little changed as gains in Tata Motors, ONGC and Coal India were offset by losses in State Bank of India, Axis Bank and Maruti Suzuki. The government finalizes the terms for electoral bonds. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley says the scheme is aimed at cleaning up campaign financing. Former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram says that the ordinance and the amending bill to the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code throws up more anomalies and can be counterproductive to the whole insolvency process. He also says the government would have to come back to the House to rectify these anomalies. India's December manufacturing PMI comes in at a surprise 5-year high of 54.7. And protests break out in Mumbai after a clash at the 200th anniversary celebration of the Bhima-Koregaon battle in Pune yesterday. Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis has called for a judicial inquiry. Straight on to the markets now, and Neeraj Shah is standing by to sum up all the day's market action. Neeraj, over to you.
Well, it was a good start, but couldn't quite live up to that. However, we did end marginally in the green because at a point of time we were down about 0.25% as well. So even Stevens, you would say. Not so much for the broader markets though, because the mid caps and the small caps corrected and the market breadth was 1:2 in favor of the declines, which wasn't quite the case yesterday when the markets had fallen more. So more correction in the broader markets today. Let's take a look at what the large caps did though. I think some winners today included Tata Motors. The DVR2 did very well. Bharti Infratel had about 2.5% up move. The HDFC Twins ended in the green. ONGC was amongst the principal participants as well. And this got negated by a few other heavyweights which didn't do too well, obviously. So Bharti Airtel was down, Eicher Motors was down 4%. That was amongst the top contributors as well, despite the Nifty Auto Index doing well. So there were a few pain points that the markets fell in the session. Correcting today were some of the high flyers. So wasn't just restricted to real estate. The ADAG group stocks, Reliance Naval, Reliance Communications, a couple of others also went down. Reliance Power was down about 6%, JP Power was down about 7.5%. So all of these stocks saw some correction. In fact, if you look at the top 10 names on the Nifty 500, a clutch of these names were the recent big gainers. What did do well though, stocks like Eros International, Advanced Enzymes and a few others. Rain Industries was up about 10% as well. So it was selectively good for certain stocks, as it always is, but by and large, the broader markets didn't have the best of days today.
Well, thanks so much for that, Neeraj. But let's move on to the Indian rupee. It's hit a 2.5-year high of 63.51 against the US dollar. Increased selling of the American currency by banks and exporters is seen as the major contributing factor for the rupee's surge. Now, Saloni Dhanuka is here to tell us more about it. Saloni?
So, starting the new year on a highly bullish note, the rupee today has surged by another 16 paise to 63.5150 levels against the dollar, which is its highest level since 22nd July 2015, which is nothing but 2.5-year high. Now, the local currency yesterday settled at a fresh 5-month high at 63.68 levels, thereby gaining 19 paise. Now, do remember, rupee has been on a winning run since past 4 trading sessions. It has appreciated by a good 60 paise against the dollar in the last 4 trading sessions. Now, dollar unwinding by banks and exporters due to extremely bearish dollar sentiments overseas has largely supported the big move in the rupee. Now, the dollar index has slipped below the 92 mark for the first time in over 3 months. It now trades near 91.80 levels. While remember that Nomura has come up with a note in the last week of December wherein they have pegged rupee at 63 per dollar for the first half of 2018 and at 63.50 levels in the second half of 2018. They believe that rupee has been largely supported by a recovery in growth, credible RBI policy, continued economic reforms, as well as strengthening foreign exchange reserves. They believe that rupee is undervalued by nearly 7% against the US dollar, and it has ample scope of appreciation in the coming month. Also, Mr. Viraj Desai, who is the FX strategist at MK Global Financial Services, believes that dollar inflows related to private placements has largely supported the rupee's big move in the past 4 to 5 trading sessions, and he believes that dollar index continues to remain weak or range bounded, and rupee should face resistance in the levels of 63.50 on the upside, while on the downside at 63.10 levels against the dollar, Alex.
Thanks so much for wrapping that up for us, Saloni. Let's move on now. Chief Investment Officer at LIC Mutual Funds, Sarvanath Kumar, does not expect 2018 to be as good as the past year for Indian markets, but he expects select defensive counters and some infra-related themes to do well. Listen in to this slice of his conversation with Bloomberg Quint.
Calendar year 2017 was a very excellent year for the Indian equity market. Mainly the money comes from the domestic investors, mainly from the mutual fund. If you see earlier, domestic mutual fund used to get less than around say 1,500 crores SIP per month. Now it has crossed more than say close to around 5,600 crores, 6,000 crores per month kind of a SIP. And domestic funds itself invested near about $20 billion money in calendar year 2017. And foreign institutional investors, foreign portfolio investment has come somewhere around $7.5 billion kind of a number. And whether the calendar year 2018 or maybe FI 2019, whether it will be repeated like what we have seen in calendar year 2017, I have my own doubt. Maybe the last year, if you look at the calendar year 2017, the broader index has given around 31% Nifty, and mid cap and small cap has given around 48% or 58% kind of a return. But going forward, we may not see for calendar year 2018, you may not see that kind of a return going forward. But there could be a selective stock picking ideas may work, and that's what most of the fund managers and analysts, they're working in the mutual fund industry. They're looking for ideas, maybe whatever bottom up kind of approach. There could be opportunity in some of the selective areas. But same time, whatever the risk factor, what we have to see is a rise in crude oil price in the global market. And even the election calendar for India for assembly election for 2018, we have near about some 7-8 states election is already whatever the itineraries are for 2018. Plus you have a 2019 middle the union government election. So these are the factors we have to look at, and so based on that, market will take a call. And the same time, what you look at today, the last 2 years or whatever, the earnings, the market has moved up mainly because of the expansion of the PE multiple, mainly because of liquidity in the system, right? And going forward, we have to see the market will move based on the EBITDA earning growth. That is more important.
Mr. Kumar, I'm trying to talk about pockets, and since you're on the topic of autos, let's talk about them. What's your view here? The December month, because of a low base, has looked attractive, but can the momentum carry on in the new year?
See, that's what I'm saying, Mr. Neeraj. Calendar year 2017 was an excellent year for the Indian equity market. Calendar year 2018, we have to see, factors like, what I discussed a while ago, various factors. The earnings growth of the corporate plays a major role. But we are expecting calendar year 2018, the infrastructure investment will really going to pick up. Even if you look at Mumbai itself, we are about the data what we are reading is more than 1 lakh crores of infrastructure investment is going to happen. So various, plus you are including the Navi Mumbai airport and others. So infrastructure sector, including the EPC contractors and even the cement players, could be made so the better number going forward possible. Like that, what we are seeing is, the last 3 years, the pharma space has not delivered well. And even the IT information technology sector also, last 3 years, we have not seen much of growth. It's rather given negative return for the investors. We are expecting selective pharma space will do well for a calendar year 2018. And the same, like even IT information technology also, the mid-size IT companies, still they have a very strong, customer base and, other, plus even whatever the spending from the BFSI sector in the US and other developed economy, corporates also going to spend more. So we are expecting the mid-size IT space, even some of the selective larger IT corporates also may tend to benefit, may show the better number for calendar year 2018. That means FI 2019. So like that, there could be an opportunity, could be in the agrochemical space, there could be agri-input space, there could be opportunity. Okay. Even telecom has done really well in calendar year 2017. So like that, there are some selective pockets that could be opportunity to make money that we have to explore and start start putting money for work.
Now, the government today notified the scheme for electoral bonds. The bonds would be an interest-free banking instrument and once issued can be claimed by any political party via their registered bank account. Here's Finance Minister Arun Jaitley detailing the terms of the scheme in the Lok Sabha.
Political funding in India needs to be cleansed up. Today, the system effectively is that a very large part, and this is no secret to any political party or to the world outside, that donations coming to political parties are coming otherwise than through banking instruments. The name of the donors are not known, quantums are not known, the source of the money is not known. Electoral bonds substantially seeks to cleanse that system.
Well, Bloomberg Quint's Sajith Mangat has more details on the scheme. Sajith, how will the bonds work exactly?
Alex, the bonds are basically a bearer instrument, in the nature of a promissory note. They are basically an interest-free banking instrument. From a point of view, who can buy them? It's basically any citizen of the country or any body corporate which has been incorporated in India. They can buy these bonds. They will have to be. They need to have a bank account which has gone through the normal KYC process, and they can subscribe to these bonds from the select branches of State Bank of India. Now, the denomination of these bonds ranges from 1,000 rupees to 1 crore, 1,000, 10,000, lakh, 10 lakh and crore. That's how the denomination goes. And these bonds will have a life of nearly 15 days. Now, the government is planning to open these bonds 4 times in a year, 10 days each at the beginning of each quarter, which is January, April, July and October. And in the year of Lok Sabha election, the government has asked the entire window to be open for 30 days in that year of election. So the life cycle of the bond is just 15 days, and anyone who is going to buy these bonds will have to submit it to the political parties which are registered in India and have a vote share of more than 1% either in the last assembly election or the Lok Sabha election, whichever is the latest, and their names will be kept secret, so it will not be disclosed who the payee of that money is or the bond is going to be. For the political parties, they will need to have a designated bank account through which they can encash these bonds.
Right. Thanks so much, Sajid, for all those details. We'll come back, of course, to that issue later in the day. But first, there's another topic that we have to talk about. Former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram has come down hard on the amendments made to the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code today. The Congress Rajya Sabha member described the haircuts allowed under the new code as subsidies being given to errant promoters who have not been diligent in honouring their commitments. Listen in.
The ordinance and the bill that replaces the ordinance throws up some more anomalies, and I'm pretty sure that sooner than later the government would have to come back to the House to remove those anomalies. Somewhere in the course of drafting, the amending bill has not become over-inclusive and may in fact become counterproductive to the objective going through the insolvency resolution process.
In fact, Arun Jaitley is currently addressing the Rajya Sabha. Let's cut into that address.
We're taking some haircut, and the same management would come back into management. The same set of people would come back into management. Nothing would change. Those who ran the company down the ground and insolvency would be back in management after paying 40, 50, 60% or 70% of the amount. Nothing would change except that the creditors have taken a haircut. Now, is this kind of a system to be permitted in the Indian insolvency proceedings? And I'm glad to know that not one person in this House has said that this should be permitted. This House in one voice has said that these people should be excluded. Now, if we exclude these people, so there was no ineligibility condition. So when we started inputting the ineligibility conditions, there is a point which has been made by Mr. Chidambaram and some others, that are some of these conditions a bit too wide? For example, a 2-year conviction. The 2-year, there is already a conviction clause which exists in section 164 of the Companies Act, and that's 6 months. Therefore, a person who has been convicted for a period of 6 months or more can't even be a director of a company. And once he can't be a director of a company, I don't see any reason why he should be allowed, because these are all conditions which have been taken out as far as various comparative provisions of various acts are concerned. Now, clause C, the third clause, clause F, the word is prohibited by the Securities and Exchange Board of India. I think Mr. Jairam Ramesh, the word in the ordinance was has been prohibited. So from the ordinance it has been changed to is prohibited, which means that the tenure of prohibition must be currently on. The ordinance was a little too wide, that if you have once been prohibited, you will lifelong be prohibited. That we have changed, and I think the spirit of what Mr. Chidambaram tried to suggest has been captured by making this particular change itself. With regard to the corporate guarantors, the clause H is that you have given a guarantee in a case, not any guarantee, in a case where an insolvency petition has already been admitted. So you are already before the NCLT in another insolvency court. So you are facing an insolvency proceeding yourself before the tribunal, and therefore you start bidding either for the same company or for another company. Now, would we allow people with such questionable credentials to come in, having had such a bitter experience of how these NPAs themselves have been created, and allow people with this kind of a doubt? Now, as far as connected people are concerned, I agree that when you go to section 5, subsection 20, section 5 and its subsection, the related party definition is fairly lengthy, but an exception has been carved out in the section itself that scheduled banks, asset recreation companies, reconstruction companies, alternative investment funds, these have all been excluded, and therefore these would continue to bid. And I'm quite sure, let us see the experience of these 12 companies, which in the first instance have now come up before the board. And in any case, there is a corresponding amendment to section 30, which has also been made, that the committee of creditors is not bound to accept any and every bid. If they find that the universe of bidders has been narrowed down, and in this narrowed down universe of bidders, adequate bids are not coming, a viable bid is not coming, then section 30 has also been amended that any bid which is not viable or feasible can be rejected by the committee of creditors.
Well, that's Finance Minister Arun Jaitley there responding to criticism of the amendments that were made to the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. We'll, of course, sum all of them up and put them up for you on the website. And, of course, we'll have discussions later in the day. But let's move on now to the other news that we have for you. And there's some good news for the economy in the form of the Nikkei India Manufacturing PMI, or Purchasing Managers Index. The PMI has come in at 54.7 in December, as against 52.6 in the previous month. It is the highest reading on the Purchasing Managers Index since December 12 and the 5th consecutive month of expansion. Remember, any reading above 50 signals an expansion in the economy. The Finance Minister today clarified that the RBI Bonds scheme, which gave an 8% return, was not being closed but was only being lowered to 7.75%. This comes a day after the government notification indicated that the 8% Government of India bond, which was issued in 2003, would be closed for subscription from today. The bond is a popular instrument of investment amongst retired and senior citizens. The government has also cut the interest rate on the General Provident Fund by 20 basis points. The new rates will be applicable from the Jan to March quarter of FY18. Good times continue for Indian automakers, with monthly sales rising in double digits for almost most of those players, that is. While Maruti and TVS Motor came out with their numbers yesterday, Bajaj Auto, Tata Motors and Mahindra also Ashok Leyland and Hero MotoCorp have put out some strong sales numbers today. Yatin Mota is here with a wrap of all of those figures. Yatin, the numbers have to be taken with a pinch of salt seen against the low base of last year.
Clearly, we had a low base last year because of the demonetization impact. And be it the three-wheeler, two-wheeler or the commercial vehicle players, the base was quite low. But despite that low base and the market expectations of higher growth, we have seen most of the companies surprise on the upside. So the demand continues to remain quite healthy as far as the auto sector is concerned. And despite the seasonality and the year-end impact on auto companies, December had proved to be a good month. Probably, discounts and promotions, new launches is something which helped boost the overall industry sales. If you look at Hero MotoCorp, slightly lower than street expectations. This is probably only company which probably disappointed. So the total sales were up 43% for Hero MotoCorp despite a low base. Bajaj Auto, the growth for the export market continues to uplift the overall numbers. Export growth was 35%. Domestic sales, including three-wheeler sales, were up nearly 25% year on year. And remember, for Bajaj Auto, this time it was a record month of three-wheeler sales. We also had Tata Motors, wherein the overall December sales growth was nearly 52%. And this is to do with the fact that the commercial vehicle sales were up 62% for the auto major. Ashok Leyland, surprising on the upside, much better than the street expectations. Total growth coming in at a whopping 79%. And finally, M&M Tractors division reported their December numbers. So on a year-on-year basis, we again saw a good 30% bump up coming in. So far, if you look at the auto companies which have reported numbers, barring one or two, most of them have reported healthy numbers on the positive side.
Thanks so much for that, Yatin. Let's move on now. And companies in the financial sector queuing up to debut on the bourses extend into 2018 as well. Kolkata headquartered Bandhan Bank has filed its draft red herring prospectus with the market regulator. The full-service lender plans to issue just a few shares short of 12 crore, with the majority of them being a fresh issuance. We caught up with C.S. Ghosh, the managing director at Bandhan Bank, and he says the lender will continue its focus on microfinance and SME lending, as there is a lot of untapped demand in those segments. Listen in.
Microcredit, if you see that, it will be continue on that way because their demand is more, and also market is very free, and the untapped people is a very big, large. And there is an also area is called the micro, small and medium enterprise, which is segmented till now. Formal financial institution not yet reached in that 7% of the total demand. And we are addressing it on that as of now. And affordable housing also, we have a very good demand. Then we are also started on that. So accordingly, we say that these are the three segments we are focusing on that.
So you will not, sir, for instance, look to, for the want of a better word, copy large universal banks and get into retail lending in a big way, go into metros or tier 2 cities. You will focus on your customer base, sir, even over the next 5-year period?
According to last 2 years experience on that, there is a big demand in the market, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, even metro and urban. We will be like to cover all side on that.
Okay. Sir, on the deposit side, so your CASA is closing in on 30%, 28 odd percent. Is that correct, sir? Can you give me a little bit of sort of experience on the deposit side? Where are you getting the deposits from? You mentioned earlier that it's not just your existing client base.
CASA is a very good deposit base. I given that the 25,442 crores. Out of that, we have the 28.18% CASA as on September 2017. And also it is very focused on that, the retail. We are focusing on that, and the customer also given the very good amount of deposit, which is at 76.09% of our retail deposit out of this 25,442 crores.
And news coming in from Mumbai. Protesters took to the street today after the clash at the 200th anniversary of the Bhima-Koregaon battle in Pune yesterday. The event on Monday was marred by stone pelting and vandalism, with one person being reported dead. Violent protests erupted in Ghatkopar, Powai and Chembur today after followers protested the death of the youth in Pune. Maharashtra's Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis has ordered a judicial inquiry into the matter and a compensation worth 10 lakh rupees for the family of the deceased. Here's what he said.
ये जो पूरा इंसिडेंस है, एक सोचिए समझिए साजिश के तहत क्या ये किया गया, इसके ऊपर भी ध्यान देने की आवश्यकता है, क्योंकि अगर पुलिस इतने बड़े पैमाने पर वहां पर नहीं होती तो शायद बहुत गंभीर घटना भी वहां पर घट सकती थी। इसलिए ये प्रयास किया जा रहा है कि इसके जो तह तक हम लोग जाए, और इसलिए हम माननीय उच्च न्यायालय को रिक्वेस्ट करेंगे और माननीय उच्च न्यायालय के सिटिंग न्यायाधीश के माध्यम से इसकी न्यायिक जांच की जाएगी। साथ ही में जो हत्या हुए उसकी सीआईडी इंक्वायरी की जाएगी। हत्या में जो युवक है उनके परिवार को 10 लाख रुपए का मुआवजा राज्य सरकार की ओर से दिया जाएगा।
Now, the death toll in protests taking place in Iran have climbed to at least 20 after 9 people were killed in clashes between protesters and security forces last night. Iran's state television has reported that the clashes broke out after rioters tried to steal weapons from a police station. The protests began on Thursday in Mashhad over Iran's weak economy, jump in food prices, and have expanded to several cities against the government and the country's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Hundreds of people have so far been arrested. Moving on, US National Security Council spokesperson has said that the US will continue to withhold the $255 million in military aid to Pakistan. He said that the White House is reviewing Pakistan's level of cooperation. The announcement comes hours after Trump tweeted that the US had foolishly given $33 billion in aid to Pakistan over 15 years and received only lies and deceit in return. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shahid Abbasi has called a cabinet meeting and a high-level National Security Committee meeting today. Pakistan's foreign minister has dismissed Trump's comments as a political stunt born out of the failures of the US in Afghanistan. Moving on, South Korea has offered to hold high-level talks with North Korea on January 9th to discuss its participation in the 2018 Winter Olympics. This after Kim Jong-un said he considered sending a team to South Korea to take part in talks. South Korea's President Moon Jae-in also saw North Korea's offer as a groundbreaking change to improve bilateral relations. Well, let's move back to the Rajya Sabha to see what's happening there. And in fact,
he gave a reply. I heard the reply. He replied to you. Yeah. Now, so therefore, Dr. Chidambaram Reddy ji, are you withdrawing your resolution?
No.
He replied.
Sir, before my decision, he was about to say I interrupted in some other subject.
No.
So please ask him to give why ordinance was given. Then I will tell my decision. Please let him tell.
He already told you.
Please let him tell about ordinance.
Now you would.
Sir, I have got right to ask clarification
You
as a member of Parliament.
You asked, you explained.
No. I was asking some other point. Ordinance, I didn't ask now. No, I'm asking.
He said that.
What he said? He didn't say.
Why
that.
ordinance? He said that.
He didn't say. He was about to say ordinance, then I diverted subject to some other subject. Please let him tell ordinance, then I will tell.
Okay, now it's okay.
No, please let him tell, sir, ordinance. Why his chair is not allowing me to hear from you?
No.
Because ordinance, I have not heard. Ask the House. I don't think anybody...
I am not objecting anything, but...
No, I am not objecting, nor I am not... I am supporting the bill, but I want to know why ordinance...
That is what I also heard. I also heard him explaining. I heard it.
Okay, if House is satisfied, he has given ordinance, a proper reply, then I will not move the ordinance. The resolution.
The chair is satisfied. Chidambaram Reddy ji, the chair is satisfied.
No, House also satisfied.
House is also satisfied. Okay. So, amendment not moved. Oh, I'm sorry, it is moved but withdrawn. You are withdrawing it. Already moved. It was already moved. So, you are withdrawing it. Withdrawn, yes. Amendment withdrawn. Now, I shall now Yes, he said he withdrew. I heard it. I shall now put the motion regarding consideration of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code Amendment Bill 2017 as passed by Lok Sabha to vote. The question is that the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code Amendment Bill 2017 as passed by Lok Sabha be taken into consideration. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Motion is adopted. We shall now take up clause by clause consideration of the bill. Clauses 2 to 4 stand part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clauses 2 to 4 are adopted. Clause 5 stands part of the bill. There are 3 amendments. Number 1 by Dr. Chidambaram Reddy.
Sir, regarding this amendment, I would like to clarify punishment with imprisonment for 2 years or more. It's very vague. Better stick to 2 years or specific time. So please bear in mind, and then I will not move this amendment.
Yes, amendment not moved. Now amendment numbers 4 and 5. Sri Sugandhar Segar Roy, are you moving?
Not moving, sir.
No, amendment not moved. I shall now put clause 5 to vote. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Clause 5 is adopted. Clause 6 stands part of the bill. There is one amendment. Number 2 by Dr. Chidambaram Reddy.
Sir, regarding this very important, we have given only time period given for payment of overdue amount under section 29A is only 30 days. It's too little time. So in my view, this period is too short because company is undergoing stress. Therefore, 50 days. Please bear in mind, examine. I will not move this.
Okay. Amendment not moved. I shall now put clause 6 to vote. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have, the ayes have, the ayes have. Clause 6 is adopted. Clause 7 stands part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have, the ayes have, the ayes have. Clause 7 is adopted. Clause 8 stands part of the bill. There is one amendment number 3 by Dr. Chidambaram Reddy.
Sir, in this I would like to say that the fine of 2 crores which is provided is disproportionate to the offence which a person may be committed for contravening any provision to code or rules regulations. Here I would want Minister to bear in mind, because for each violation we have defined the quantum of penalty. It's only where the violation for which the penalty has not been defined, we are providing a general clause. Therefore, the fine should not be more than 1 crore as a maximum. This is what I want request Minister to bear in mind. No, I am not moving the amendment.
Yes, amendment not moved. I shall now put clause 8 to vote. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have, the ayes have, the ayes have. Clause 8 is adopted. Clauses 9 and 10 are stand part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have, the ayes have, the ayes have. Clauses 9 and 10 are adopted. Clause 1 stands part of the bill. There is one amendment number 6 by Sri Arun Jaitley.
Sir, I move the amendment.
Amendment moved. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have, the ayes have, the ayes have. The amendment is adopted. I shall now put clause 1 as amended to vote. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have, the ayes have, the ayes have. Clause 1 as amended is adopted. The enacting formula and the title stand part of the bill. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have, the ayes have, the ayes have. The enacting formula and title are adopted. Now, Sri Arun Jaitley to move that the bill as amended.
Sir, I move that the bill be passed.
No, bill as amended.
As amended be passed.
Yeah. Now, motion moved that the bill as amended be passed. The question is that the bill as amended be passed. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have, the ayes have, the ayes have. The bill as amended is passed. Yes. I must especially thank everybody because we completed it in 2.5 hours. Thank you. Now, resolution Sri Piyush Goyal or Rajiv Gogan. Who is yes. Sri
Well, there you have it. The ayes have it in the Rajya Sabha today, and they were voting, remember, on the amendments that were cleared earlier by the Lok Sabha to the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. And that's gained significance, especially considering the number of large stressed accounts that are being referred for insolvency processes. And we'll bring you all the updates on that over the course of the remainder of the day. But with that, it's a wrap on this show. I hope we helped you catch up with what you missed during the day. Thanks for watching. Do stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint Live.